This conference will now be recorded.
I listen, I threw it out there.
I drove by the Fat Moose and it looked like it was loaded up with people there. And I was like,
That's what I'm saying.
you're asking for trouble. Yeah.
Oh, they got it. Which makes me hungry for burgers and beer.
Did they get mine?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Um,
yet.
Give it time.
Hell, that's too busy with stuff you just whatever they're called. 50s, there you go.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, you got Stuffy's and Spit. Yeah, Stuffy's is in Longview, 50s is in Chehalis area.
Yeah.
Off Highway 12.
Fantastic. Hey, Tracy Coleman. Yes, so I was cleaning out my freezer today. I was wiping everything down, and I found a small plastic baggie in my freezer with your requested items. I just don't know when I'm going to get them to you. So there's still is a green leafy substance.
I will be at the office on Wednesday.
Oh, perfect. I will swing by your package.
Thank you.
And I'll need my $20. Just kidding. Oh, that's right. It's 40 now, I think. Supply and demand, yes. Oh, goodness.
7 a.m.
7
p.m.
7 p.m. Oh, is it 7 p.m.? Oh, 7 p.m. Here. All right, it's 7 p.m. It is Monday, January 4th, 2021. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Hold on. What now? Start. My, I'm sorry, stand by. I thought we were all rolling. And YouTube Live. Broadcast complete. Thank you. I don't think the YouTube, hey Pete, I don't think YouTube's working. I'm hitting go live and it's not. YouTube Live broadcast complete. It just keeps completing. So we will start recording. Try this again. I'll continue to try, but we've got the go-to. Yeah, it's not working. We've got the go-to recording, so we're. It's just it keeps.
Mary?
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Okay. Well, we've got the go-to meeting recording.
We've got that recording. I'll keep trying this, but it's not. It keeps stopping. It's not the YouTube's not working.
Okay.
All right. It is Monday, January 4th, 2021. This is a regular meeting for the City Council of Woodland. For those of you due to COVID-19 emergency declaration, City Council will be meeting remotely and in person. Please see the link on our agenda on our website if you would like to have video. I see we've got some callers this evening, but if you want video, there is a link on our agenda to get that, or we do have a call-in number at 866-899-4679. All right, if I could please get everyone to please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Go ahead and take the roll. Councilmember Graham.
I'm here.
Councilmember Holland.
Present.
Councilmember Rounds.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember Plaza.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Here.
Everyone is here. Thank you very much. This evening we have no presentations or proclamations. I will remind council to please speak into your microphone so we can pick it up, especially that we don't have the, I'll keep trying here, especially because we don't have the YouTube working this evening for some reason. I'll need you to speak into that microphone so we can pick you up on our go-to meeting here that is being recorded. First item on the agenda here is items for communication from the community for items not on the agenda. I have a number of people on the line here. So if you could please start your video if you're here to speak to items not on the agenda, and then we will go through and I will call on you individually for comment. Is there anyone who has called in without video that would like to speak to items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none. Moving on to citizen communications for items on the agenda. I'll ask the same thing. If you would like to speak to items on the agenda, please start your video or let me know verbally that you would like to speak to items on the agenda. Is there any callers without video that like to speak to items not, or that on the agenda, sorry, on the agenda? All right. Oh, Travis psyched me out there. Seeing no one. Oh, do we have, I thought we had, Mr. Goddard, I thought we had somebody that was going to speak this evening.
Yeah, I expected the applicant for the subdivision to be here tonight and give testimony.
Do you see, I see a engineering firm, Scott Taylor. Are you with the?
Good evening. Yes,
Are you?
we are with
the?
engineering.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Yes, we are here, SGA Engineering, and we are representing the applicant. We also have our other team members here tonight. We did not plan to have a large presentation of any form. We're here to answer questions and provide feedback for council, and also any citizens that have questions that it's not for staff to answer, we can answer those. And just wanted to thank you guys for your time.
All right, thank you. When we get to the action item, are you planning on staying for the meeting until after that action item then in case there are questions?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda approval.
To approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Plaza, second by Councilmember Smith. We'll take a vote. Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Where am I? Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
We could have done that so much easier. I don't know why we did it that way. Sorry. And the agenda has been approved 7-0. Moving on to reports of standing committees. Finance in general, Mr. Fredericks.
Yes. We met this evening, and we reviewed the finance report for November, the sales tax report for December, the 2021 Clerk-Treasurer work plan. There was some discussion on the implementation of the new monthly utility billing and RFP comments regarding outsourcing. And then we talked a little bit about the UB2 software upgrade for our utility billing. And I think the Finance Committee also suggested that there are going to be delays in the implementation of moving forward with the billing portion of the utility change that was done, that be brought back to council at a workshop at the next meeting. And we requested that the policy for special events, special use permits, street closures, and block parties be removed from this agenda going forward.
Okay.
And be moved over to the Public Works Department for discussion. Been on here for nearly 2 years now.
Okay.
So we didn't want on our agenda anymore. Other than that, it was a great meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 1st at 5:30. It will also be done remotely.
Questions for Mr. Fredericks? All right, seeing none. Moving on to human resources.
Okay.
Mr. Plaza.
Yes. All right, we met today at 6 o'clock, and we had an update on the Washington State Gestapo complaint, also known as Labor and Industries. Apparently, they are back in full swing and demanding private conversations that may have happened between council members and the city. So we're in the process of appeasing them. In addition to that, we have the Woodland Police Officers Association are willing to go back into negotiations over the contract. So hopefully we'll be moving forward with that and get that squared away pretty soon. And we are preparing to meet with the teachers over the utility billing contract. But no date has been set as far as when that meetup is going to happen yet. It's just in the preliminary stages. And that's about it. Our next meeting is Monday, February 1st, 2021.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, did
Yeah.
you mean to skip report to city council?
I did not mean to do that, but I did do that. So I thank you for going back. Reports of City Council. I was just so excited to hear those riveting reports from Finance and Human Resources that I skipped right over it. I apologize. We will take a step back here. Reports of City Council. Mrs. Rounce, do you have something you'd like to share?
Yes, I just wanted to let you know that you made a little over $300, you and your daughter and family.
Yes.
Ringing the bell.
Did we win?
I think we're close.
Oh.
I think you probably did as for a two-person.
Okay.
Yes, you probably did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We made $2,818.06. So
Nice.
even better than what we had in the past. That's the best we've done so far.
Yeah, how many kids does that help?
Probably about 10 kids.
Oh, that's good. Awesome. Good for you guys. That's great.
Camp with that. So,
People were very generous.
and very appreciative of us being out there because there just was not that many Kevin's out there.
There was not. I did get that a lot too.
Right. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I forgot all about it. And I always like to win, so. Anyone else for reports of City Council? Mrs. Holland.
So some really exciting stuff at Woodland Action. After a couple of years of saving money and grants and some really generous end of the year donations, we're able to pull the trigger on a new walk-in freezer project.
Nice.
So that's like,
Wow.
it's like super expensive, but the other one is like it probably existed before Christ had a beard.
Oh,
I'm just saying. So
that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a long time. That's a long time.
That's really exciting. So I wanted to share that. So.
Thank you.
You won't have to bring in the blocks of ice anymore.
Right? I know. By mule?
By mule, yeah. That's fantastic news. And you guys are still getting a lot of donations from our local vendor for meat, correct?
Yes.
Good. So that will help with that, correct?
Walt Meat.
Yes. I
They
did.
have been a very good, a very generous donor.
Yeah.
So they helped make it so that we could actually afford to put in the back landing that will hold the condensers and stuff on the backside
Nice.
of the building. So
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, make sure I don't skip anything else. Chamber of Commerce, Mrs. Graham.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Good evening, Happy New Year.
The chamber is still functioning. We're trying our very best. We have our board meeting. The visitor center and the gift shop is open from 9 to 4, 7 days a week, thanks to some of our very knowledgeable ladies that know everything about here. You tell those that don't know anything. They know their business. We still are, we left open our application for Employee of the Year, Business of the Year, and Citizen of the Year. They will be due by the 12th of January. So you still have a couple of days left to nominate someone for those 3 categories. And we still have Woodland and Washington State gifts for sale at the visitor center. And we will have the snow passes. Apparently there was a glitch in the address to where they were sent. So they will be available shortly at the visitor center.
Good. Okay.
And if any business has any problems or anything, please call our executive director Denise at the chamber office.
All right. Thank you very much. Questions for Mrs. Graham? All right. Seeing none. Council Wakayakum Council of Governments or CALITs. What did I say? I don't know what I said. You know what I mean. Still not attending. Okay. Thank you very much. And downtown DWR, Downtown Woodland Revitalization, Mrs. Graham.
Well, everybody knows there's 3 new step poles put up, and
Looks wonderful.
Christmas decorations across them here put up, and other than that, there has not been a meeting so far.
Okay.
So if there's any real questions of somebody needs to know something is to speak with Tracy.
Miss Coleman.
Ms. Bowman.
Yes. All right. Questions for DWR? Mr. Fredericks, you look confused?
Not confused, no, I just to follow up on the WQCC and if we were able to figure that out.
There will be a link provided, and it is going to, the ports is handling.
Let's show up on our agenda, none of our agenda never happened.
Yes.
It did come out in an email.
It did.
I was going to say, it came out.
That won't happen.
Okay. We will make sure that you get the link. And I can't remember the dates.
20th.
The 20th. Thank you. January 20th. And we will send out a link, please.
So how does that work if everybody decides they want to participate?
That's fine. It's a advertised meeting, so it's fine. It's because the commissioners participate, and then city council participates. So we advertise it just in case.
And is that stuff that the general public can participate in too?
There's no participation that they can definitely listen in.
Gotcha.
So it's more of a roundtable discussion with. Did you ever go to any of those? You know, so basically, normally what would happen is we do a circle table in the middle, and if people could attend, there'd be seats on the outside, but there's no participation.
Gotcha.
It's just more of it's like a workshop. Okay. Okay. Any other questions for DWR? Kind of threw me off. No? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Moving on to reports of city officers. Legislative priorities. I'd like to have that conversation with you. Stand by. I'm going to bring this up real quick because I've got last year's here. I want you to start thinking about, so we had transportation, lodging tax reallocation. We'll bring this back up at the next meeting as well for a workshop. I know the city council likes to have input on this. Regulatory relief and revenue feasibility, unfunded mandates and do no harm. Public safety, city encourages legislation to consider AWC priorities, which I think city council, I'll get that out to you in an email this week. I was able to pull that up. Normally we take this list and we go up to Day on the Hill or City Action Days, which is in February this year, 10th and the 11th, but it will all be online this year. So there'll be no actual traveling to Olympia. But this document is an opportunity for us to let legislators know what Woodland is finding important and what we're asking them to do. And what we're looking to support. So the Association of Washington Cities did come out with their list of priorities that they would like us to support, which I will get that out to you because I think you'll want to see that as a group and get some input and if we want to keep that on this list. So with that said, please start thinking about, or I can take some notes now and have them prepared when we come back at our next meeting if there's things that are weighing on your mind over the last couple of months that you would like the legislators to know about Woodland and how we feel down here. Mr. Fredericks, you seem very excited about that.
I've had some folks that have raised concerns about election integrity at the state level, especially in King County, Pierce County, and Snohomish County. And I'd like to get at the policymaker, I'd like to have an understanding of what they are working on at the state level to provide some level of assurance that our elections are fair. And this reminds me of election that we had not too long ago, a gentleman by the name of Dino Rossi. This was an election that was counted 4 times until finally they just found enough votes in King County to put her over the edge. some of the federal election issues and challenges that we have. I know we're here to talk about Woodland, but this is something that is, it impacts us on a federal level when we're dealing with what many would have seen as an illegitimate president, right? So I think that something needs to be done to assure citizens of Washington that our elections are fair, that mail-in voting is worth, they're cleaning the registers out. How do we determine that? And coming up with a blue ribbon commission, as they used to say, to review our election practices in the state. But I'm only one member.
Looks like we have a consensus to bring that back forward at the next meeting. Okay.
Mr. Plaza might be able to
Okay. Well, we'll give it a go and bring it back to a workshop before we take it forward to our legislators. Obviously, transportation is number one on our list, at least on my side of the table. That's always number one. So we can go through and update that one. The lodging, number 2 is off the table this year. Number 3 is off the table this year as well. And regulatory relief and revenue, that's kind of a general term, but there were some changes this past year with our legislators with public disclosures. I know during our last visit, they didn't want to take any paper, they didn't want anything to do with it, but I find it interesting that they don't want it and they don't want to hold it, but the city of Woodland and every other public entity across the state should have loads and loads of paper to go through. So anyway, just found that interesting as well. So, and when it comes to 5, 6, and 7, I encourage you to look over the email that I'll be sending you. All right. All right. Perfect. Want to give you a heads up on that. Also on tonight's agenda, you have action item D, which is council committees. I don't know if everyone is comfortable. I brought forward what it looks like now. The times would remain the same. They have to remain the same just due to the fact of the overlap that we have. So this Monday was HR and finance, correct?
Yeah.
And then next meeting would be public works and public safety. So that would remain the same, and I have everyone listed on the same assignments. So this is your opportunity to switch with other members if you'd like. I would encourage you. It's only been a year to move forward at your same committee, just because you folks are getting some work done. So make sure you just see it through. That's just my opinion. So I'm looking for a pass on action item D this evening, unless somebody wants to move around. And also the 2021 council meeting calendar is available. I'm not sure that's, oh, sorry, that's Mr. Boyce's list, sorry, excuse me. Questions for me this evening? Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and welcome back. Exciting things happening this year. I'm looking forward to all the work getting done. So and thank you for allowing me to be with Rotary as well on Christmas Eve. We always have a good time. We had to send the boys away early because they started to be boys. So we had to send one of them away and get them separated. The older one, for some reason, likes to pick on the little ones. So, Mr. Boyce.
Got to unmute there. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not a lot to report. What I had was mentioned by Councilmember Plaza on the HR report. The Woodland Police Officer Association did not end up ratifying the tentative agreement we had come to. We heard from their attorney today that they want to reach out and start negotiating again, so we will do so. Also, as Councilmember Plaza reported, we've reached out to the Clerical Teamster Bargaining Unit about contracting some utility billing services. When we have more information on that, we'll report back to City Council. Other than that, I was going to mention the WQCC on January 20th at 6 p.m. When we get that link, as Mr. Mayor indicated, we will send that out to council and make sure it's advertised. So that's all I have this evening. If anyone has questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions for Mr. Boyce? Seeing none, you're off the hook. All right, so moving on to other officer reports. Again, because we are virtual, it makes it easier. If there are any specific questions for any of the other department heads, I ask that you step forward now and ask those questions. Council, anything specific?
Nothing specific.
No? Okay. I will say, I'm going to take a little bit of thunder from Ms. Coleman right now, though. The booster pump for Scott Hill, the approval came in this morning, and email has been sent. So had a great conversation with park folks this morning, and after I hung up and asked Ms. Coleman, she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I just sent the email. So it was literally hanging up with park and with park folks, and then the email came in and sent. So good news on that. We're moving forward. All right, moving on to consent items. Moved by Councilmember Round, second by Councilmember Chapman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it, 7-0. Moving on to action item C, Resolution 735, a resolution relating to subdivisions and approving the preliminary plat as reflected in the Planning Commission recommendation for the Woodland Creek Planned Unit Residential Development, or PURD, subject to certain provisions and conditions.
Move to adopt resolution number 735.
Moved by Councilmember Fredericks, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Fredericks.
I appreciate the work that was done in this. I think the Planning Commission did a fantastic job. Mr. Goddard, who also did a fantastic job. Everything that we need to know is actually included in the application sheet. It's very thorough. I am supportive of this adoption.
Councilmember Chapman. Further discussion? Mrs. Graham.
I'm just gonna make a comment that that was a lot of paper and a lot of words to read. But going through everything, I think it looks like they have gotten a lot of I's dotted and T's crossed as far as environmental, stormwater, everything else under control, because out in that area, there is concern on my part of, the whole flooding issue. So, but it sounds, from what I understand by reading that paperwork, that they probably got it under control and very knowledgeable of it as best as they can. So time will tell.
Ms. Graham, you bring up a valuable point.
Sorry about that. I forgot.
The Merriweather subdivision.
Beautiful
had the
neighborhood.
same issues. And so there were a lot of, matter of fact, there was a mayor that ran for mayor's job. There was a city councilman that ran because of those, because of that division got approved. So it is a big concern that's raised every time we have this discussion. So
That comes from flooding.
Living through it, yes.
Yeah.
Mrs. Holland.
I actually attended this as a citizen because I live in this area, their public workshop. I appreciated the fact that so many people participated. It was nice to hear. So, and it was a really good presentation. I appreciated that somebody put it on Facebook, so I actually knew what was happening.
Good. Did you provide testimony during that?
I did. I have, as a citizen who lives on Slaughterhouse Corner, I have concerns about the amount of traffic that would be outside my bedroom window with 150 more houses. So,
What was the consensus on that?
on what? The traffic?
Yeah.
It's just gonna be traffic,
Suck it up.
pretty much.
Nice.
So actually, you know, my take on it was there were a lot of people who had similar concerns. There were a lot of different things discussed. They weren't fleshed out like we kind of do here. So I'm interested to hear what happens tonight if people want to talk about it. But it didn't sound like they did. So.
All right. Anything further? Mr. Plaza?
Yeah, as we kind of touched on here just a second ago, my only concern really, I mean, it's nice that we're, back in business and, the city's doing what city's doing, adding homes and growing and all that good kind of stuff. That said, and from what I remember reading in the packet, and I even was on point this time and had it highlighted and had notes and everything written down, and of course I looked at the phone, so kind of going off of memory. But I understand that the developers, they're obviously making the roads, the streets, and all that kind of stuff in their area. But like was brought up, you got 140 new thereabouts coming in. Say 3 people per home, 2 cars per house. You're looking at a decent amount of vehicle traffic in addition to what we've already got going on. What, if any, are the city's plans as far as addressing the extra vehicles that this gets through?
Okay, that's a great question. I could provide some commentary on that, but I'll let Mr. Goddard or Ms. Coleman answer that question. I know there was a traffic study that was completed, and we're moving forward with our traffic plan that council has approved. Our traffic improvement plan. I think I got that right. But it's, when we talk about traffic and the developments within the city, yes, we have some traffic impact fees that are being charged to per home, just like they're paying into the school system. It's like a latecomer's fee is the way I look at it when it comes to residential. So they're paying into the schools, they're paying into the fire, they're paying into the road system, they're paying into the parks to be able to use those further, and help sustain us as we move forward. But 40% of the traffic problem in our city, it comes from county. So, and another 30% comes from another county. So when you look at the overall traffic issues that we have here in town, it's not created from the citizens of Woodland. It's created from our outlying areas who we don't collect fees from. Right. So it always goes back to the conversation of we only have so much money to improve things and to fix our transportation system. So we do the best we can with that. Maybe Ms. Coleman, you can jump in a little bit, or Mr. Goddard. I think who can speak to transportation and the projects that will be completed with this neighborhood?
So we're talking about the neighborhood that is up above the intermediate school, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So I'll let Travis talk about that, because there are impact fees that are collected that go towards the exit 21 improvements if we do construction, but I'll let Travis talk about what fees have been collected for that.
So impact fees is one aspect. The other one is the developer will be required to do frontage improvements. So there will actually be additional improvements along State Route 503. There will be cross connection between the existing Statesman stub and State Route 503. And there will also be multi-directional pedestrian connections. So what it will mean is for city flow, if you are actually trying to drop your kids off at the school, for example, you'll now be able to use Statesman and take a right into the school. And then when you pick them up, you can take a right when you exit. So there will be less left turns to get into the school. So even though there will be more trips, you will actually find it easier to access the school. And cross connection across the city will be improved by the applicant. The one thing I can say is the applicant will be doing everything that is required by city regulations, and there is nothing else that we would be able to ask the city to do. They've done everything we've asked.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Did that answer your question, Mr. Plaza?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, there's only so much we can ask the developer to do, and I'm not expecting the developer to come here and solve all our traffic problems, and that's stupid. But I mean, we're talking about a couple hundred cars that are going to be coming in through, all the streets of the city, not just the area that they're going to be living in. And it's going to turn into a big problem pretty quick. I get there's only so much we can ask them to do, but it's getting to the point where exit 21 isn't the answer for everything, and we're reaching the rim of the glass is still in traffic. So I was just wondering if there's any plan to address that or not.
Well, addressed within what we can ask, I guess. But it's important to remember too that along with those impact fees, we have property values that are going to go up. We have property taxes collected on 140 plus homes. We have a number of which the county will benefit from as well, without paying into our traffic improvement plan. Just throwing that out there.
County to put the bill on any of this either.
No. So it's really on our shoulders. So we really are. But again, with the improvement of our with the improvement of 140 homes, our assessed values will go up, which means property taxes across the board should go down for all users. So bringing more homes in, yes, is there going to be some impact, but there's also a positive impact that is going to come from it as well. Mr. Chapman.
Usually have about how many people per house? How much more cost?
That I would have to do some calculations. I don't know. I'll have to ask that question.
There was a fascinating section of papers that you went through too, where it's like 80 bajillion pages, but it's had a section on the roundabout there at the corner store and the amount of vehicles that go through there in a year. And I don't recall hearing that there would be that the state would be dealing with the fact that the roundabout will be congested and fail. So people love them roundabouts, so sitting in one for 10 minutes to go somewhere is best.
They're pretty.
Yeah. Mr. Fredericks? I think so.
What I find, we were talking about affordable housing at the last meeting. And what we're doing here is this is someone who wants to use their property, 41 acres, still 150, presumably close to 150 homes. And the fact that we are going to authorize them to use their land with 39 conditions in order for them to be able to do that. You wonder, when we talk affordable housing, you wonder why housing in the state of Washington is so expensive. Look at the conditions that must be met prior to somebody being able to build here in the city. 39 conditions. Some of these conditions are extremely costly. Where do we think that ends up? It ends up in the price of the home. And so I can't help the fact that this is an individual who wants to use their property. Great, let them do it. We're putting 39 conditions on whether or not they can use their property. Yes, you could do that, but you have to kiss the ring of the local sure that, that we can meet all of the conditions that are required. Because here in Olympia, we make rules. We like rules to be followed. We want to make sure that those rules are followed in each municipality as well. So, and then we've got state that has done a horrible job, in my mind, of managing traffic along Lewis River Highway that has now turning into a issue for citizens of Woodland. And matter of fact, the only time I remind these folks that actually came out is when we had a fatality, where there is now something that was done in the middle of that lane. It's like, that's what it takes in order for something to get done. And that to me is appalling as a citizen. When we're putting in, when we have folks who live in Woodland, that travel through Woodland, that pump their gas in Woodland, they're paying a gas tax. And it seems like 90% of that gas tax money goes up so Big Bertha can keep digging the hole up there in Seattle. And it's poor planning. And, you know, that's kind of what we end up with. But you talk about affordable housing, 39 conditions that must be met in these houses. I wonder how much they're going to be. I have no clue. But I can assure you that the cost gets built into every single one of those homes. It gets passed on to whoever's going to be buying it. That's the way this works. So that's my 2 cents.
Anything further? All right, seeing nothing else, I'll go ahead and take the vote on action item C, resolution 735, relating to the Woodland Creek Planned Unit Residential Development. Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
No.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
The ayes have it, 6-1. Moving on to action item D as in David, 2021 council committees. Assign the council members to the committee and set the dates, times of the meetings.
I make a motion to approve action item B. Second.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, second by Councilmember Plaza. Councilmember Rounds.
I think it's good that we're staying in the same position. We get a little more familiar with it.
Councilmember Plaza.
Okay.
Further discussion?
So a yes vote means we're staying, all of us are staying on the same committee.
At the same times, yes. Wow, here we go. Anything further? Drink a Coke. All right, seeing nothing else, I'll take the roll on action item D, 2021 council committees. Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
The ayes have it, 7-0. We've come to the part of the meeting for adjournment this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, second by Councilmember Fredericks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The time is 7:42.